Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. It's time to mortal up.
Good evening once again. Monday night. Welcome to the Brian Brawdy Show. Don't forget, Wayne and I were kicking it around today. You can also reach us at Radio Bry, RADIOBRI.com, if that's easier to remember, because Brawdy's a tough name. Sometimes people spell it like Brawny the paper towel. Other times they spell it Brawdy, B-A-R-O-T-T-I, like I'm Italian. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Or Brawdy if you're Irish, but you can reach us at radiobry.com, mortalup.com, blah, 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 blah. Tonight's episode, we've got so much to talk about, and I never do this, but I'll tell you why we're doing it. I never do this, but while we're in pre-show, which happens for about 30 minutes, I know it's hard to believe when you think, boy, that show sure sounds like you guys wing it. I know it sounds like we do, but we really do have a pre-production meeting. It's like 30 minutes long, and it's very seldom that in that pre-production meeting, I say to Wayne, hey, Wayne, you know what? Go ahead and throw everything around, redo everything, because here's what I want to do. Right? This is what I think we should focus on for this evening. Good evening, Brian. Nice to see you. As always, thank you so very much for joining us. And no, I'm not talking to myself, although that happens quite often. Tonight's episode is Never, Ever Surrender, and we're going to talk about that. And then I want to get right in, and this is where the rewrite comes. Caught me in the middle there of changing my subscription for the bar soaps. I like this new Squatch bar soaps kind of thing. They're not a sponsor of the show, but boy, if they were, this would be the time to insert them. They have this tar, pine tar, some kind of tar. It's a solid black bar, but it's got like little busted up pieces of coconut shell in it, and when you start scrubbing with it, it's to die for. Kind of like reindeer gazpacho, which I'm told the president ordered along with the recently crushed baby seal sushi the last time he was at the North Pole. So in any event, never, ever surrender. Let's talk about that quickly this evening. And what it simply means is this poor little fish. Now, I shot this picture, same river, if you tuned in last week. This is the same river, different day, but same river that I tipped the kayak and was skinny dipping with the alligators in South Florida. But a little bit behind this picture, if you're able to look at it and bring it up on your phone or blow it up, whatever, this fish is looking. I'm not seeing anything, Candace says. This fish is looking down the eye of the anhinga, or the anhinga is looking down the eye of the fish. But this battle went on for a while. Candace, nice to see you. I'm glad we're there. This battle went on for a while because the fish tried to get loose. And then the anhinga would grab the fish and slap it back and forth on the rock. Smack, 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 smack. And then the fish would jump all around like crazy. And then one time, a fish jumped out of its mouth like the anhinga wasn't ready and the fish jumped out. This fish epitomized never, ever surrender. It just wasn't going to give up. So the anhinga grabbed it by its tail, and it was like, whack, 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 whack. Matter of fact, what first caught my eye was this thudding sound. And that was the anhinga smacking the fish head up against, I don't know, like a rock or a down tree or something, hard ground, grabbed it by its tail and was smacking the fish up and down. And then it would toss it in the air. Well, one time it missed, and the fish kind of like flopped. It knew to flop to the water, right? So it was flopping. And the anhinga grabbed it again. Now, I've got the camera rolling. I'm filming this, and this fish is fighting for his life. And I know Winston Churchill made it popular, never, ever, ever, ever surrender. But I got to tell you, this fish was channeling that emotion. It would not give up. So about 10 minutes into the brawl, the anhinga one more time tosses the fish into the air and grabs it on the way down, and it was further out the anhinga's beak at this point, further out the beak. Just the tip of the fish's nose was on the very tip of the beak, and the anhinga just kept like gulping, gulp, 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 and moving the fish, and it was finally over. You could see the fish's tail just go, and it didn't surrender. It was just dead. And then eye to eye, the anhinga was like, really, you think you could take me? And the fish was like, I don't know. And then it was all over. Anhinga swallowed it right down. So when I wanted to pick this, the logo or the thumbnail for Never Ever Surrender, it's because I've always thought about that fish. It did everything it could to get away. It did everything it could to get back in the water. Superior force, right? Anhinga, 100 times its size. Superior in every way, right? Probably speared the thing with its pointy little beak to start the whole soiree, right? But the fish refused to give up. It knew it was going down, and it was going to fight to the very last minute. And that's what I think is a good idea for you and I, right? Wordsworth said, come forth into the light of things. Let nature be your teacher. Well, here's certainly a lesson we could learn from nature. Let nature be your teacher. Be like this fish. Never, ever, ever give up, regardless of how badly you're outmaneuvered, how badly you're outgunned, how badly you're outmuscled, how badly you're out thought. Never surrender. Just keep going at it. And who knows? Maybe this fish, maybe the Anahinga could have dropped him once, and he could have swam away, probably with a little beak sword hole in his stomach, but he could have swam away. You never know. So that's for tonight. Never, ever surrender. We'll talk about that a little bit more in Mortal Up. But let me get to this. So, Wayne, if you can cue Low Life's Making Headlines, and I'll let everybody know why I went ahead and interrupted our pre-programming meeting. Low Life's Making Headlines, or as we like to call it around here, brains that make your blood boil. Here's your brittle brain atop a balsa wood spine for today. Now, like I said, I never like to interfere with this, right? I just, right? Because Wayne works and he gets everything ready and set, and there's a few minutes left to go. And most times if there's a glitch or there's a mistake, it's because right up till 7 o'clock, right up before we're getting ready to go, whatever hour that is, I'm constantly pushing and going, oh, let's change this, let's change that, let's do this, let's do that. So what happened tonight was I said, you've got to be kidding me. I got a tweet. Someone's picking a fight over on Spitter. And I got a tweet. And I had to lead tonight with Low Life's Making Headlines. And as Wayne says all the time, fear not. Low Life's Making Headlines is set up so we will make sure that this gentleman gets an official Low Life's Making Headlines certificate mailed directly to him so he knows what exactly is going on. So our Low Life's Making Headlines for tonight, you can cue the drum roll. Low Life's Making Headlines, Mr. Jake Tapper. Now, Tricky Jake, I forget, is he CNN or MSNBC? He might be CNN. But in any event, I thought I would read to you this little bit of the blue bubble Jake Tapper, little bit of his wisdom. Quote, I'm sure it won't upset Ginsburg's grieving family. Not Justice Ginsburg, but because he had to get in a set number of letters, apparently, right? He is a writer. I'm sure it won't upset Ginsburg's grieving family at all that her dying wish, as dictated to her granddaughter, is now being called a Democratic hoax by the President of the United States. Jake Tapper, you're a crap weasel. It should be Jake Crapper Weasel is the name that we should be going on, and you definitely win tonight's Low Life's Making Headlines for this very simple reason. I didn't know. Maybe somebody can help me here in the thread. Brian, if you're here, Candace, if you're here, anybody. We'll be opening up the phone lines here at the bottom of the hour, but you can text us up until then. 833-MORTAL-1, that's 833-MORTAL-1, or the number as you spell it out, 833-667-8251. And here's the scoop. I didn't realize that it was a giant game of tag, or like studio wrestling. So if you're getting beat pretty good, you reach out to the side of the ring. If you're a Supreme Court justice, you reach out to the side of the ring and you tag someone and go, okay, you jump in for me. I got to be honest with you. It has nothing to do with Ruth Bader Ginsburg's grieving family. But where is it written that a dying Supreme Court justice has any say in his or her replacement? It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And I've heard a lot of crap from Jake Tapper, but that's the craziest by far. So now are we to believe, well, I don't care what the dying wish was. I mean, world peace would have been nice, right? And starvation would have been nice. Hey, make sure someone feeds my cat. That would have been nice. But we're supposed to be worried that Jake Tapper is purporting to suggest that a Supreme Court justice gets the pick. If Supreme Court justices got to pick their own replacement, All they'd be picking are clerks. You'd get to be a clerk of the Supreme Court, and before too long, you'd know you're the next up. You're on deck. You're in the batters, soon to be in the batter's box. It's craziness to think, I think, just for a moment, and which is why Jake is getting the lowlifes making headlines for tonight. As dictated to her granddaughter, I'm sure, nice person and all, who knows, don't know her, okay, but dictated to her granddaughter, and I could see why someone might doubt that, especially, and we're going to be doing this, Wayne, I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but I know we're going to be doing this at Friday Night Fights this week. This will be our kickoff. We've tried for a couple weeks, and there's scheduling conflicts, and attorneys are involved in this and that. Candace, I agree with you. That is the weirdest thing to say on a deathbed, right? I would have told my family I loved them. Hey, I got fresh pastrami in the refrigerator. Make sure that doesn't go bad if everyone's coming over for a bite to eat before they lay me to rest. Right? Oh, make sure the dog. Can someone please make sure the dog gets looked out? The puppy, the cat, the iguana, whatever animal, right? Those would be some things that you could say. But to say, oh, for heaven's sakes, forget everything I said in the New York Times in 2016. And we'll bring this up Friday night with Friday Night Fights with our good friend Matt Connerton. Forget everything she said in 2016 in the New York Times article. Forget everything Joe Biden said in 2016 in the New York Times article, where they both said no. It doesn't matter how much time is left. The sitting president gets to nominate, and the Senate at that time has to go to work, yay or nay. That's the gig. That's what you signed up for. Oh, well, we're going to take our ball and go home. We're going to impeach. We're going to pack the courts. We're going to do this and that. Let me ask you a question. Suppose, now I'm not saying it goes this way, and I would never slam firefighters, right? In my family, a lot of dear friends. But suppose your house is on fire. And you call 911, and 911 goes, oh, good golly, your call's just a little early. So sorry. May we suggest a garden hose and some neighbors with buckets of water? So early, we're getting ready to graduate a new firefighting class. Oh, 6 weeks. 6 weeks. There'll be a new class come in. And the old firefighters, they're getting ready to retire. They're right. They're right. They're not as good with the hose, right? They're a little older. Takes them a little longer to get there. Maybe they don't drive as fast or as alertly as they used to. So let's say we wait the 6 weeks until the new recruits are sworn in. The new recruits, the new firefighting cadets are sworn in. And then, oh, I have an idea. We'll keep your address. And then we'll send them over to your place once they're sworn in. That's how we should do it, right? So do what you can to keep the fire at bay until that point. But the recruits, the newlyweds, the new firefighters will be here in just 6 weeks. So let's go ahead. What do you say? We'll let them pick who comes, and you just do your best to struggle through to them, because you don't want the old firefighters. That's insane. How many people would vote for that? So we'll be talking it on Friday Night Fights tonight. Friday Night Fights this coming Friday with Matt Connerton, as I said. All I'm suggesting is that if it was good in 2016 for Ruth Bader Ginsburg, if it was good for Joe Biden in 2016, same New York Times, if it was good for them then, why isn't it good now? Why do these crap look, all right, Wayne, I guess it's time to do wing sauce now that I'm on a roll. That Jake Tapper thing just set me off. So now we're into our latest wing sauce segment. Wayne? Take it left wing, right wing. Beneath all the flapping and clucking, it's still just a chicken. Wing sauce. A lot of noise, but not much sense. Wouldn't it be great if we had the sound of a chicken dropping an egg right on the floor? Right? Just right out on the floor. I think that would be great. All right, so wing sauce. We're getting ready to run with this segment because here's the thing. Left wing or right wing, is it right? Does the president, is there anything? Just show me where it says in the Constitution, anywhere, right? Whatever document you think the overlords use to run us, pick whatever document you like. Does it say anywhere in that document that a president is a lame duck, that his powers, his responsibilities, his duties, what you pay him or her to do, their responsibilities, we let them go the last 6 weeks, last 3 months. We don't hold them to them. It's kind of a ceremonial post. They get to kick back and relax. They're short timers. Don't worry about it. Just right. They can just relax, hit the Rose Garden, have some tea, maybe get some portraits with friends, give tours at the White House. No, there's no document that says that. Find it. Tweet me or text me. Where does it say that? Doesn't say that. It says he works right up until he's no longer president. So if it's responsibility, now, granted, this current president doesn't get paid, he sends his check, well, he gets paid, I'm assuming, but he just doesn't keep the money. He sends it to other people. So I'm assuming that it's within his job description, or it would be if within her job description, if you had a female president, it would be within their job description not to coast for the last 6 weeks, not to take the time off. It's his job, his responsibility, his duties, his oath, whoever he or she is, the president, to keep working right up until the very last minute. So everyone wants to say, well, it's just not right. Now, who gives a shit? Nobody cares about what's right. Nobody cares what's right. If you think that you're going to get people over onto your side of the argument of going, this is right, you're on crack. People say, well, Mitch McConnell, way back when, he didn't let Merrick Garland in. That's not fair. Great, it's politics. Who says anything is fair in politics? Well, Mitch McConnell, he was wrong to hold it up. Could very well have been. But do two wrongs now make a right? That's something else. So it's sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Scratch that. We don't believe that anymore. What kind of fool does? Clearly, names hurt just as bad as a 2x4 or a sharp rock to the head. So now, in addition to that cliche, which is fine with me, let's get rid of all the cliches. In addition to that one, we have, oh, no, let them just go and coast. Who believes that? How is that right? You're not going to win another? Oh, well, it's just not fair. My question again, does two wrongs make a right? I don't care what Mitch McConnell did. Do two wrongs make a right, yes or no? Or are we throwing that one on the left-hand side as well? Do two wrongs make a right, yes or no? And regardless of, if you answer no, two wrongs don't make a right, then that ends the debate. That ends the discussion. Well, we're going to do it to them since they did it to us. Then just admit you're a vindictive little mind, and that's going to run the discussion. Just admit that you're not willing to say, no, two wrongs never make a right. You're not willing to say that. So when all these people defend, well, Mitch McConnell sure did it, who cares? Are you the president, male or female, Republican or Democrat, left wing or right wing? Are you the president right up until the very moment the next one's sworn in? Yes or no? Yes or no? Chuck Schumer, oh, we'll pack the court. Oh, we'll get rid of filibusters. Nancy, oh, well, Nancy. Sorry, Wayne. I'm going to stop for a second, and Wayne's got a logo to share with us. I can't even say Nancy without laughing. It's hysterical. No, not that Nancy. I'm not calling you Nancy. Oh, this is time for our Dumb and Dumber segment. Might recognize a couple of the faces there. Our Dumb and Dumber. Retaliatory impeachment is on the table. If Trump fills the SCOTUS vacancy, we have our options. Can I ask a question? And I'm not, look, far be it for me to kick Nancy Pelosi while she's down. She wants to go in and get her hair fixed. I would say she needs all the help she can get. Like Lori Lightfoot in Chicago. I'd keep working on getting that hair fixed. But let me ask you, do you ever get tired of politicians threatening you? If you're Schumer, right? If you're Schumer, we're going to pack the court. We're going to get rid of the filibuster. Nancy Pelosi, we're going to impeach him. We have options. We have tactics. Do you ever get tired of politicians threatening you? Do you ever get tired of regular folks threatening you for that regard? Well, if he does this, we're gonna fix his wagon. These are the caliber of intellects that we have running our country. I don't give a good damn who you vote for. This is what you voted for? This is the intellectual prowess. We'll fix your wagon, my pretty. Really? And no, I'm not calling her a witch. I would have been more creative than that. Think about it for a second. This is the intellectual breadth, the intellectual heft, the intellectual depth of the people we have running this country. Are you kidding? Do two wrongs make a right, yes or no? Does a president work up until he or she relinquishes the keys to the White House? Yes or no? Yes or no? It's very simple stuff. Just answer yes or no. At least the way I see it. That's the way I see it. So in all the debate going on, when people say, how can you say this is the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive? Because today I'm out, next door neighbor, having some work done on a roof or whatever, on siding, shingles or whatever. And the poor guy, all of a sudden I'm out in the driveway working and I hear this, and I look up and I look over and the ladder is still up against the side of the house. So I thought, well, he couldn't have fallen off the ladder. The ladder didn't give way. The ladder's still there. Well, what happened is he went to step back on the ladder and he missed it. I don't know how, or his foot slipped, whatever. But by the time the paramedics got there, he was nothing but fractured ankle and leg bones through the skin, blood everywhere. I mean, he was really hurting. So for him, it may not be the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive, right? That's got to be painful. Woo. So I went over and helped pick up all of his tools and everything else, put in the garage, make sure they're locked, the ambulance is there, loading them in the back. But maybe it's not the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive for him. Probably not. But I dare say there were some days that I was saying, it's not the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive for me. No, I always say that, so forget I said that. But you know what I mean. Let me say hello to Shane. Shane, you have a very valid point. Politics and vindictiveness go hand in hand, it sure seems. As Sarah says, he must act now. Candace says he has the legal right to fill that seat. And I think, Sarah, let me just say, I agree with you. And I don't think he must act now out of any wing sauce, right? Left wing, right wing. It's just, he has a responsibility. He took an oath. Now, I know taking an oath doesn't mean a lot to some folks, maybe. But you say you're going to work, you work. You don't kick back. Well, he's hating life, but at least he's still alive. Shane, that is absolutely true. I was so glad he didn't fall on a power tool. I was so glad he didn't slip and one leg would get caught, so then he was hanging upside down. So all I could do was, right, and once the paramedics got there and started carting him up just to make sure all of his tools were, put away. But there's a guy that thinks, wow, maybe life isn't going all that well. But back to Sarah's point, he must act now. Why? Because it's his job. Why? He took an oath. Why? It's his responsibility, a fiduciary responsibility. He has a responsibility. If it were a she would have a responsibility. Nowhere in the Constitution or any other piece of parchment that you think runs your life, nowhere in that piece of paper does it say you take the last 6 weeks off. And you know who I'm quoting? Justice Ginsburg, late Justice Ginsburg, in the article in 2016. Gee, good night. I'm sorry. You know who else I'm quoting? Joe Biden, saying the president has a responsibility to keep working right up until the last moment. So it's good enough for Ruth and Joe, but now that the tables are turned, they're going to go ahead and fall on that sword? All of them. It's craziness. They're all bullies. Think about it for a second. These are the people that we elect. Candace says, doesn't Nancy have another word other than impeach? I don't know. Poor Nancy. You got to give her a break. Dumb and dumber. Retaliatory impeachment on the table if Trump fills SCOTUS vacancy. She hasn't done a damn thing at work anyways. I'm sorry. Has anyone that really needed help from the coronavirus lockdown, anyone gotten it because the Dems and the Dems are dragging their feet? feats? Any of them? I'm Jake Tapper. Feats. Hey, did I mention Jake Tapper's our low-life making headline for tonight? Because he just is. Quote, I'm sure it won't upset Ginsburg's grieving family at all that her dying wish as dictated to her granddaughter. Oh, please stop the presses. Let's rewrite the Constitution to say if you're a dying Supreme Court justice and you take a stenographer in to your bed for your final confession, whatever you decide should be the case for your replacement, well, damn, that's the case. Last I checked, nothing in the Constitution says you get to take a stenographer with you to tell the rest of the country what to do. I don't know. Could I be wrong? Someone look up stenographer. Type in the Constitution, see if the word stenographer comes in. Don't give a crap whether it was her granddaughter or a Martian. Where does it say in the Constitution that a stenographer gets to dictate how the rest of us do business? I don't care. We're going to run to the bottom of the hour here in just a little bit. We'll be taking calls on the other side. Let me know what you think. If you have any suggestions. Shane says, we elect on a promise. Then they take office. I'm with you, Shane. Absolutely with you. And I think we touched on this a little bit last week, and we'll be getting into it all week long. Like I said, greatest time in the history of the world to be alive. I love this. I put over on Spitter the other day, this girl, I don't know if you saw her, brownish blonde hair. I didn't put it here on Facebook because every other word was a cuss word, and I wasn't going to ask Wayne to bleep out like in a 90-second audio, you'd be bleeping out like 70 seconds. Well, this woman's just hysterical. That Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, and now someone else might get to be picked as a Supreme Court justice. She was just apoplectic. Apoplectic. You got to love it. Right? Here's the thing. As I say to my friends all the time, we're not going to change anyone's minds. Oh, well, we keep going. There's 6 weeks left. We might change someone's mind. Oh, baloney. Where have you been? Everybody and their brother. So here's what I think. Never, ever surrender. Fight like you're the fish getting ready to be sushi for the anhinga. Right? Keep fighting. Pick a side. Stick with that side. Ride this pony all the way out to the end. Do you ever get tired? Even though we're never going to surrender, do you ever get tired of being bullied, being threatened by politicians? Oh, my favorite one is, oh, if he doesn't leave office, we'll go ahead and drag him out. Or if Biden doesn't wake up to make it to the inaugural, we'll go in and wake him up. Drag him out, wake him up, whatever. The threats. What politicians threat? But look, in fairness, before we go to the bottom of the hour, you know what grates on me? You ever see the signs that say, obey traffic signals? I don't like the word obey. I think that's what it boils down to. I don't like the word obey. People telling me, you shall obey this. Well, I don't think I will. You should obey. And think about these politicians running around, these crap weasels. Threatening you. Threatening everybody. Threatening whatever we have left of a democracy, a republic, whatever we have left. Oh, well, we'll call it the National Guard. Oh, we'll send Secret Service to arrest him. Oh, well, we're going to impeach him. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. This is the mentality of the people that decide what happens to you and me in the future. What decides what happens to our kids, our grandkids, our great-grandkids. This is the mentality. You and I wouldn't hang out with these Lex Luthors. We wouldn't invite them over for a barbecue. Yet that's what we get. Right? Hank Johnson's one and all. Remember, let me just say, everyone's going like, oh, you're picking on poor Hanky Johnson. Remember Hank? All right, I'll fill you in on Hank, or my good friend Hank Johnson, when we get back from the break. And then we'll be opening up the phone lines, your text lines. Let me know what you're thinking. All right, let's get out of here for the bottom half. Welcome back to the bottom of the hour. I have to tell you, the little musical interlude there, this is coconut water, and it is absolutely soothing. It's fantastic. I don't know if you like coconut water. I like it fresh from the coconut, but you know what I mean? For me, it's just amazing. Let me say hi to Ashley and Terry. Thank you for hanging out with us this evening. Thank you for stopping by. Super appreciate it. We were just talking about this. Let's open up the phone lines. Jane said the RGB comment was her last parting shot she could take. Not a fan of the Cheeto Prez, but the law is the law. So here's what we're going to do. Let's open the phone lines and we'll get back to this whole discussion. Ashley, Terry, we're just discussing yes or no, right or wrong. Does a president, any president, have the right to fill a Supreme Court seat? At least send the nomination. You don't even have the right to fill the seat. Just send the nomination to the Senate. Make those blowhards do their job. Does the president have to do that, have the right to do that? Or, as Jake Tapper, our good friend over on Spitter, Jake Tapper have a point where he says, well, she dictated to her granddaughter that this was supposed to be what happens, so now we should take stenographers. Our last will and testament should actually affect an election, should affect an appointment. The Supreme Court, any court, anywhere. Is that the way it should really be? All right, Wayne, let's go ahead and open the phones.
The phone lines are open. Now's your chance to mortal up and give Brian a shout because your opinion deserves to be heard. Dial toll-free 1-833-MORTAL-1. That's 833-MORTAL-1.
All right, and for the rest of you, like me, it's still hard. I just like the numbers. 833-667-8251. Let me see. Thank you. Well, let me just do this real quick. Thank you for listening over on mortalup.com. RadioBry.com as well. Wayne tells me that we're going live to YouTube and here in the Facebook. Thanks for everyone hanging out with us on the feed here in Facebook. Also over on Twitter, you can catch us there. And, of course, the podcast goes out everywhere thanks to our good friends at IPMNation.com. The podcast goes out everywhere. The Stitcher, I don't even know, Sound, I don't even know what it's called. What is it called? Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, SoundCloud, all the rest of that, you can pick up the podcast. So thank you all for everyone that's listening. If you're listening to the taped version of the show, thank you very much. We're kicking around some of the things going on in the world today. And just as I said, I kind of hijacked the pre-show meeting when I got Jake Tapper's tweet about, the poor grieving family. Now the president's calling it a hoax. Look, here's another question. Can I just ask? Shane, let me run this past you and Ashley and Terry and Candace, Brian. So way back when I wrote the joke about seal meat sushi and reindeer gazpacho in the North Pole, it was back in a day where someone was floating a story where the president allegedly had said something about troops or people that had lost their life fighting in wars or this or that or anything else. And they had, someone was on, well, my sources. Like, my sources is something that, we should all run with. Well, my sources, Kathleen Heritage, if she said sources one more time, I was going to have to just go, you're kidding me. My sources. Let me say good evening to Lisa. Lisa, thank you for joining us. So my sources. And here's what I begin to wonder. Let's say that one of the generals, whether it was Mattis, right, whoever the general was, John Kelly, any of the security detail, any of the high-ranking military officials that would have been there when this saying went down, when he was alleged to have said this. And now, all of a sudden, these generals go, I don't want you to use my name. Well, I don't want to. Have you ever read the biography, either of the two biographies about General Mattis? Do you think he's worried about what people say about him in the press? Really? John Kelly. You think John Kelly's at all worried about what someone types about him, yet they can't get anyone that was allegedly there. They can't get anyone to give a statement because they're fearful of the blowback. You ought to read how Mattis got the name Mad Dog and tell me if he's fearful about the blowback. 833-667-8251. Thank you, Wayne. Or you can call us 833-MORTAL-1, Mortal, and then the numeral 1. Don't forget, you can also text us, not Mad Dog, right? So all of a sudden, Candace, you're absolutely right. He's not Mad Dog, and he's not going to stand up for fallen troops just because he's afraid of what they'll say to him in the blue bubble verse. Never heard anything so ridiculous in my life. 833-667-8251. Ooh, that was close. Almost had coconut water everywhere. 833-667-8251. Yes, thank you. We're having a good time. Thank you so much. Super appreciate it. Don't forget, you can give us a text or you can tweet us over at Brian Brawdy. We're busy taking up some of Jake Tapper's oxygen. Sarah says, we are debating someone doing the job they were hired to do. Sad days. It is, in fact, sad days, Sarah. Absolutely true. That's the job. Now, in any other world, if an elected president, male or female, we're going to say, you know what? I've decided to spend the last 6 weeks on Air Force One, touching down on a different continent every 48 hours. Or, you know what? I'd like to see as many countries of the world as I could in my last 6 weeks. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to leave the vice president in charge. Look, let me just put it this way. Since he's in charge, I'll leave Air Force One for him. Just give me Air Force Two, and I'm going to fly around the world like a goodbye tour my last 6 weeks. Yeah, right, sure. I'd like to see the Eiffel Tower. Right, I'd like to go. Oh, the Great Wall of China. Maybe Joe Biden has a contact over there he can hook me up with. Maybe I could go see the Great Wall of China. You know, that's what I would like to do. I'm going to spend my last 6 weeks seeing the sights. Oh, how about the 7 wonders of the world? We could do that. I'd do a little bit of time in Greece, maybe go to the Parthenon, maybe the Colosseum. That's what I'm going to do. They would call for his head, her head, whoever it is. If you had a president go, yeah, I know, I was all heady, Secret Service servants, right? Did they make you food? They play Hail to the Chief when you walk in. I got ahead of myself. 4 years. That seems like a long time to me. 4 years. I got a little crazy. I don't know what. It just got to me. So I'm going to take my last 6 weeks off and just jet set around, if that's okay. Yeah, I've got my iPhone and I've got all my music loaded. So I'm just going to run around and have some fun. If that'd be okay, right? You can send my last check. We're here. We're just going to let the vice president, him or her, whoever it is, we're going to let the vice president take over. But I'm out. I'm done. It's been a really nice 3 years and so many weeks. But I'm done. There's no way I could make it to 4. And then they're out. People would be incensed. They'd be triggered. They'd be enraged. Apoplectic. I'm mortified, just mortified. Right? But no, he's here to do the job. She would be here to do a job. Whoever the president is has a job. They take an oath. Nowhere in the Constitution says you get to slide your last 6 weeks. Stop your whining and all your groveling and all your threatening. They're going to burn down this. We're going to burn down that. We don't get any sleep. You don't get any sleep. I would say try some of the new cinnamon-flavored Fireball whiskey. Knocks me right out. Or a bonfire in upstate New York when it gets a little chilly in the air, and you put a blanket, you sit near that bonfire, next thing you know, you got drool on your chin. That's all I'm saying. Oh, well, if we can't sleep, you can't sleep. We're going to burn this place down. All right. God love you. Wait, do you ever get tired of being threatened? I love these people. Who was the one I saw on Twitter the other day? Oh, we're going to drag him out, and we'll use our bare hands if we have to. And I thought about this woman, young lady, whoever, look, and maybe she's using a picture when she was 18. She's now 84. Who knows, right? You just go by what the people's pictures are. I don't know. And I'm thinking, Oh, well, we're just going to drag him out by our bare hands if we have to. You and what army? The threats are just amazing. And this keyboard courage, most of the times, I don't know about you, for me, it seems this keyboard courage, the more time they spend in front of a keyboard, and it could be a keyboard on a phone, I guess, right? You could just be texting away. But this keyboard courage, it's run amok. Run amok. Oh, we're going to burn the whole place down if he does his job. If Congress does its job. Now, put the name up. If the vote fails in the Senate, that's their job. But just do your job and stop all the threatening, why don't you? Well, Bro, you're always the one sticking up for First Amendment rights. It's a free right to threaten people. Great. And I have the freedom to go, look, I'm tired of being threatened by you crap weasels. Threaten away. Threaten all you want. But I'm telling you, if he tried to skate his last 6 weeks, anyone tried to skate their last 6 weeks, you'd be like, can you believe it? So you can't win. You can't win. And then you got people over on Twitter like Mr. Jake Tapper. Good Lord. Jake Tapper. Our lowlife, in case I didn't mention, our lowlife's making headlines for today. He'll get a nice shiny, it's probably not shiny unless it's like on photo paper, but he'll get a little shingle sent to him that, congratulations, you're our lowlife making headline for today. Right? And with all due respect to Ruth Bader Ginsburg's granddaughter, well, I don't give a crap what she thinks. Right? Is anyone even, when you're on your deathbed and you're seconds away from having your passport canceled and God's calling you home, I don't know how sound a mind you're in anyways. Or her deathbed confession was that she wanted anyone else, any other president. I'm sorry. Fun fact, I don't give a crap about your opinion. Well, I don't. Where does it say? Now, if you said, hey, 30% of the weight that goes into picking the new one is based on what you think. We'll fill in the other 70%. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. What? Let me. Oh, it doesn't say that in there? Okay, then I have an idea. Go get another piece of strawberry cheesecake and leave the discussion to the adults. Is it right? Yes or no? Do two wrongs make a right? Mitch McConnell. Oh, great. Fantastic. You got Tourette's syndrome. Good for you. Do two wrongs make a right? Was Ruth Bader Ginsburg right in 2016 when she said, no, this president's got to go down now? I think I heard something today where it says 16 times. I believe it was 16 times. And some of them, even a shorter time frame than this. 16 times. Presidents have nominated, and the Senate has fulfilled its obligation and appointed to the Supreme Court in the final months of a presidential campaign. And Wayne, you're more read up on this than I am. Is that about right? Was it 16? A couple of times, I think, were the off years. If you were a president of one party and the Senate was of another party, I think that's only about 2. But 16 other times it's happened. Let me say hello to Denise. Denise, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're having some fun, as we often do here at Radio Brawdy. I think I like that. We're having some fun here just talking about, does whoever is president. Okay, let me ask you this. Did Barack Obama have the right to nominate Merrick Garland in the final year of his presidency? Yes or no? Oh, well, but, okay, look. No buts. Yes or no? Did President Obama have the right to nominate, to nominate, whatever term you're comfortable with, did President Obama have the right to nominate Garland? Was Ruth Bader Ginsburg right in 2016? Was Sleepy Joe right? Vice President Biden right? In 2016. This president has a responsibility that goes right up until the moment the new president is sworn in. Yes or no? Did he have a responsibility to fill that seat? So speaking to Sarah's point, it is sad days. We're debating if someone doing their job they were hired to do. Let me say hello to Brian. Brian, thank you for joining us. Boy, we got all kinds of Brians. We got like almost a full house. We're simply debating, Brian, if you're, now that you're hopping on, we're debating, does a president have a right to fulfill a justice position? Wayne, you're back. Would you fall asleep?
That battery went dead.
There you go. That's always a good excuse. So, hey, listen, what's the number? You're up on this. You've got your fingers on the pulse. What's the... Hey, I got one of those shirts today. Yeah, I really like that shirt. Yeah, it came in the mail. So let me ask you, how many Supreme Court justices have been appointed in the final months?
I'm not sure about how many in the final months, but I do know there were 14 in the...
Is it 14? Okay.
14 in the last year.
In the last year,
election year
of a lame duck president. Well, you think you're a lame duck. You don't know how the election is going to turn out, but
right.
14 is the number 14. So all the craziness, and this is why I love, like I said, that young lady on Twitter the other day. Hey, you can go over to Twitter. I posted it on my feed. A lot of people are offended and upset, triggered that I reposted that young lady screaming and hollering, carrying on. Let's just hope she wasn't driving on a road anywhere near us. Good Lord. You know she's single. Just saying. But in any event, screaming and hollering about all this, this is the greatest time in the world to be alive. And everyone wants to go, well, I think it's important to find common ground. I don't know. There's not much comedy in common ground. I say never, ever surrender. We're not changing anybody's mind. We're not changing anybody's vote. We're in the 11th hour. That's why this week is going to be a blast. And Wayne, I was talking earlier about our Friday night fights this coming Friday. What a topic. That's why writing the show has become so easy. All you got to do is check out what's going on in the mornings.
That's pretty much what it boils down to.
Yeah, man, I love it. This is the greatest time ever.
I'm bringing up that graphic, by the way.
All right. Is this the one of the Supreme Court justices?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Or you're welcome to, while you're looking for it, you're welcome to bring up our Dumb and Dumber graphic. I love, that's the one. That's the one. Oh, wait a minute. Is that Nancy Pelosi? I recognize Jim Carrey, but is that Nancy Pelosi over there? You know, and I got to tell you, that looks like they caught her eyes going that way. That doesn't look like Photoshop. I'm not very good at Photoshop, so I couldn't tell you, but that doesn't look like it was Photoshop. Melissa, good evening. Nice to see your icon. Thank you for joining us here on the Brian Brawdy Show. Yes, sir. Oh, Supreme Court nominees confirmed in a presidential election year. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're right, Wayne, 13.
14.
Oh, is it I have 14? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 6, 7 times 2. 3, 6, 7, 14. So that's what, to Sarah's point, Denise says, if the situation was reversed, Democrats would have announced the nominee within 30 minutes after Ruth took her last breath. Denise, I got to tell you, I think you're on to something here. I think you're on to something. Good evening. Let me say hello to Merlin. Merlin, thank you for joining us here at Radio Bry. Thank you very much. Sarah was saying, hey, we're debating something that here, it's gone down 14 times. All of these 14 times from 1796 to 1988. Did we threaten to burn down the Supreme Court building? Where we all going to guns? Where we're going to burn down the courthouse? Where we're going to do all this or that? Well, I love Denise's point. If it were reversed, oh, look at the time. It's been 27, 28, 29, wait a minute, it's 29, 30, 31, 32, 40, 59. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. Here's who we're going to put up. At least President Trump said, let's wait to have the funeral. Let's wait to pay respect to the family. Now, that's one way of looking at it. You could say, oh, wasn't he such a great guy to do it? Here's another thing he knew. This doesn't take 8.5 years. Right? especially if you don't have the Kavanaugh shenanigans go on. We say good evening to Karen. Karen, thank you so very much for joining us. Nice to see your smile as always, even though the avatar, the virtual, right, doesn't take forever. How much time do we have, Wayne? You told me today. I've forgotten already. How much time do we have till Election Day?
It's November 3rd.
So what's today? Like the 21st, is it?
Today's the 21st.
All right, so 40 let's just say 41 days. And the thing is, if he waits till Friday or Saturday, however it's going to be, there's still all kinds of time. All kinds of time. So you could say, yes, he's being respectful, and no, or yes, he just knows how to run out the clock. But I am so thrilled about this week. And I think everyone here in the thread should be, everyone on social media should be, because you're going to see people's heads explode. No, I know you're thinking, oh, Brian, you're a fan of Scanners, the movie? Yes. In fact, I am. I think this is great. And they go, well, don't you want to be the voice that kind of quells all the division? No, I don't want to be that voice at all. Because I think it's outing people who are insane. Look at it. I can't wait for Wayne to show the graphic, the special graphic that we're working on for Friday nights. Three Stooges plus an honorable mention.
Yeah, don't give it away.
I'm not giving it away. I'm not giving it away. Which, let me tell you, this would be the perfect time to mention my good friend Hank Johnson. Now, if you've seen this before, you're welcome to mention it here in the thread, or you're welcome to give us a text. Maybe you know Hank. You know him. You love him. Hank Johnson. Hank had a military general in front of him. Now, Hank is a member of Congress. And you give him an open mic, you can't shut him up. Kind of like me. So Hank Johnson is grilling a general. And he could have been like 6, 7, 8 stars. I don't know. But a big-time general. Probably 3 at least. Big-time general. He's being grilled about the budget. And the general says, oh, well, we want to do this and that, and we need to move some battalions of Marines onto Guam. Now, look, I wish I were making this up. Not really. I don't wish I were making it up because nothing effectively proves my point like this Hank Johnson story. So forget I said I wish I were making it up. I love that I'm not making it up. Hank Johnson, in all seriousness, just Google Hank Johnson and the island of Guam. If you don't believe me, you think I'm part of the wing sauce, just Google Hank Johnson, island of Guam. Dead serious. He's got a microphone. Chairs yielded his minutes. He says to the general, are you familiar? And I watched this. Are you familiar with the square mileage of the island? And the general looks at one of his full bird colonel minions and said, look, I'm sorry. I didn't know there was going to be a geography test. Could you get me a map of the damn island, please? Somebody figure out. And the general says, no, but I'll get that for you, sir. And Hank says, well, I happen to have it right here. Oh, good for you. You're a geography nut. Good for you. So Hank Johnson says it's whatever it is. And the general thinks he's got a serious question coming, so he looks at him. And he says, yes, sir. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Now that I know, I appreciate it. And Hank says, well, I'm concerned. Are you, General, that if we introduce more troop carriers, if we introduce more tanks, if we introduce more personnel, if we introduce more weight, the island of Guam, given its diminutive size, I'm sure the word diminutive is too large for Hank, given its size, are you at all worried, General? Do you share my concerns, General, that the island of Guam will tip over? Now, before you think that was like the Babylon Bee or the Onion, or you think it was a bad Saturday Night Live script, I promise you, Google Hank Johnson and the island of Guam. And the reason that I bring that up, Dumb and Dumber, we could have put any picture. Wayne could have made Dumb and Dumber anybody. But these are the intellects that we're electing that dictate what happened to us. Really? As Sarah said, we're debating someone doing the job they were hired to do. Oh, I hired some guys to fix the drain. But I decided at the last minute they could just hang out back by the pool. Maybe we make some lunch. I would order some wings, maybe some beer. They don't have to. No, I wouldn't work on the drainage. You know what? There's a lot to be said for a basement that floods. You have an indoor pool. I like that. I've always thought, ooh, I'd like an indoor pool. No, you hired him to do a job. Now do the damn job. How is that wrong? How is that right? Unless you're Hank Johnson. And you're some of these intellects, which the really scary thing is, if we're elected, right? Jury of our peers kind of stuff, wink, wink, nod, nod. If we elect some of these people, there's a lot of these nuts running around. You got to watch. It might be safe out on the streets. I saw something today right before we came on air. CDC said, ooh, we released that article by accident. Well, MIT didn't think it was an accident 6 months ago where they said, oh, no, social distancing should be 20-some-odd feet. I think it should be 6 miles. I think social distancing should be 6 miles. Everyone should clear out of Home Depot before I get there. That's what I think. Everyone should clear out of Target. Where else do I go? Meijer. Ooh, I love Publix grocery stores. They're only in the South, though. Oh, speaking of things I love in the South, I love Biscuitville. They're not a sponsor either, but I just thought I would mention that. Their breakfast biscuits, they just like melt. Oh, I also want to mention this. We've been doing a lot of work on our next mobile base camp, if you will. For those of you who remember the days when I did the mobile base camp with solar panels, wind turbines, and all that. Yeah, this is none of that. This is actually something that I pull behind on my bicycle. We've got trackable GPS so you can follow me. There's some signage. There's some this. There's some that. And we wrote a little bit that said, spreading the word while working on my spare tire. So we'll have some news about that, I promise, tomorrow night. We ran a little bit late, so we don't get to get into Mortal Up, other than to say this. Candace says, I think they totally forget that they are paid to work for us. Now they need to shut up and sit their butts down and do their work. I absolutely agree with you. They work for us. Which, we could have a debate about career politicians. My favorite are career public servants. Oh, help me. Just how gullible do we seem? But in any event, since we didn't get to do Mortal Up tonight, it's my fault, right? I just rambled on. Since we didn't get to do Mortal Up, let's leave it with the thought that we opened with. Never, ever surrender. You have a gut feeling. In your heart, you know what's right. Never, ever surrender. Don't let them tell you that you're this or you're that if you're not. Don't let them look down at you. Don't let them malign you. Don't let them second guess you. These walking, talking Venus flytraps. Don't let them do it. Mortal Up, remember who you ultimately are and of the natural resources that you've possessed from the very beginning. Now, they may have atrophied. They're not dead. They may be dormant, but they're not dead. You have the ability to rise to any challenge, and that's why I love the challenge that you and I are in right now. Elections, COVID, this, that, all of it. It's the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive. All right, we got to get out of here. Oh, we didn't even get to the poll. My fault. We will see you back here tomorrow night. All kinds of news about syndication, everything else we got going, and I promise pictures of our new mobile marketing facility. We'll be doing that tomorrow night. Wayne, we will go ahead and say goodnight. Have an absolutely fantastic evening, and Wayne, thank you very much as always. Nancy, good evening. I got her in real quick before we left. Hi, Nancy.
Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. Until next time, get out there and mortal up.